I just want to hear from the candidates today what their sort of economic plan or their sort of approach would be to dealing with these economic challenges.
I think, first of all, I don't think anybody doubts that the government should actually be providing some support through COVID-19. But there's some differences about the way we're doing it. And the big differences is how we're funding it. Golriz's party wants to put taxes up. National, an ACT, they would like to cut government spending. Both of those things are exactly the wrong thing to do when you're in a recession, because that pulls money out of the economy, and it's just going to make matters worse. And furthermore, it's unnecessary. The Social Credit Party advocates using our own bank, the Reserve Bank, to fund what we need to help the economy. Social credit's support for poverty, its poverty package, is actually more generous than the Green Party's, but it doesn't cost because we're funding it smartly using the Reserve Bank. So we really, especially now when so much needs to be spent, whatever party you're in, we really need to take a look at how we use the Reserve Bank to fund what the government needs. It can be done safely and cheaply. Which bank are you going to use? One that charges you interest or one that charges you no interest? One where you have to pay the money back, or the Reserve Bank where you don't have to pay the money back at all? We've got our own bank. We should use it. So the Social Credit Party believes there's lots of problems that need money, the infrastructure that's been run down that Michael was talking about. All that can be funded by using our own bank. No need to run things down.
Cool. Just as a little extension of that, sorry, Goris, I'll take you in a second. There are a lot of young people who are watching this live stream, and for a lot of us, especially those people who don't take economics in high school, we don't really understand the role that the Reserve Bank plays in our lives. And for me, at least, I'm finding it a little bit challenging to understand where the Reserve Bank comes into this. So if you could just break that down a little bit more specifically for us.
Well, there's what the Reserve Bank does, and then it's what the Reserve Bank what people think the Reserve Bank does, and what the Reserve Bank could do. So what the Reserve Bank does, it has a regulatory monitoring role where it monitors the banks and how they act. What people don't generally realize, and it's not just young people, by the way, it's most people, what we don't realize is that we have actually handed over control of our money supply to private banks. They're a business, they want to make a profit, so they create money and allocate it to areas that make them the most profit, which you can understand. However, what's best for profit is not best for the whole country. We advocate that you should have public money to do those things. So the Reserve Bank only makes 2% of New Zealand's money. That's the notes and coins. Private banks make all the rest. So people want loans, they go into a bank. Private banks create the money out of nothing. And that's actually a hard one to get your head around, and it sounds so bizarre that you really need to look into it to understand it, and most people don't. The Reserve Bank, what it could do, I mean, at the moment it's currently printing lots of money with our quantitative easing program and providing it to banks, essentially buying old government debt. What the Reserve Bank could be doing is printing money and providing it directly to the government to fund the initiatives. So how the Reserve Bank works, really the first question you need to ask is, how does money work in the first place? Where does new money come from? And what most people don't realize is that new money comes from private banks creating it out of nothing. Why don't we have our own bank, the Reserve Bank, create it out of nothing and provide it to the government directly?
Questions, please. Thank you.
Great. Thanks, Sanat. What I really wanted to say, firstly to Golriz, was she says that we have the lowest tax around, so why shouldn't we put it up? Well, I say the reason is because it's unnecessary. It's time for some new ideas, and one of the new ideas is using the Reserve Bank. We're getting the same old, actually, from all the parties that I think are here, and that is, let's just borrow money from private banks and go deeper and deeper into debt. It's completely unnecessary. Can we not have a fresh look at how we do things in the government and how we fund ourselves. You look into it closely, why don't we use our own bank?